Oh, hi there. You're watching North of Weatherfield and or listening to it, a Canadian Coronation Street podcast.
And this week we are talking about episodes that aired in Canada from June 17th to June 21st.
But first, the theme. My name is Brittlestar.
My name's Shannon.
These aren't our real names, of course. Our real names this week are...
So, do you remember, right, when I used to have this job for a little while, that I had like a fluffy pen that I recorded everything? Well, that's what I need to keep track of everything that happened this week, because I'm just up to my neck in fish fingers right now, and I've got to go tidying up after the quad squad.
Weird Gemma?
Yeah.
Did she used to have a fluffy pen?
Yeah, do you not remember when she got the job for the...
that's
working
right.
for the guy who fancied her?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I really needed... we don't have any fluffy pens. That's the problem with having...
That's the problem with today's kids.
Well, with having teenage boys. They're now grown adult boys, but...
Yeah, no fluffy
boys.
pens.
No.
None.
No.
I'm going to be... Oh, damn it. I thought about this and I forgot who it was going to be. I'm going to be... Let me look at your notes. I'm going to be...
Well, this is who we talk about, if that helps.
That's good. I'm going to be, yeah, I'll be this guy. Ready? Mm-hmm. Here goes. I'm going to do it. Here goes. Get ready. It's going to be good. Is that right? Right. Okay. What makes you think that? That's Christopher Green.
I'm not convinced that was Kit. That's not our Kit.
No, it was Christopher Green.
His formal self?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So this week, obviously this was the big week. If you don't want to know what's happening because you haven't finished watching it, definitely don't watch this one, because we are going to be talking about, we have perhaps solved Lauren's murder.
Are you saying perhaps, so you're not a spoiler?
Well, no, just in case. Who knows? I have questions.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we are also going to be talking about Bethany and Daisy.
Yeah.
About Abby.
Yeah.
About Joseph.
Okay.
And then taking into account all Lauren stuff, we're going to be talking about Roy, about Swain.
Yeah.
About Simon.
Okay.
About Sarah, Nathan, and Kit. And about Joel.
It's a lot of writing, Shannon.
It is. All right. So briefly for the first ones, just to touch on it. So Bethany and Daisy.
Yeah.
So Bethany and Daniel had an afternoon date planned.
Yeah.
And Daniel got called in for an emergency STC meeting, as you do, now that he's going to be going back.
That's right.
And so he has to cancel that. And Daniel's asking Sarah if she'll check in on Bethany in the afternoon because she's a bit worried about her. He's a bit worried about her. She's been down. Daisy overhears this and takes it upon herself to go and grab a bottle of wine.
Okay.
And to head over to Bethany's flat. And knocks on the door. Bethany's a little hesitant. They're both a little hesitant, but Daisy's like, I heard you could use a friend. I know kind of what you're going through.
Yeah.
See, this is why I make notes.
I know. I like that. I
forgot this happened.
I totally forgot about this. I like that happened. Though.
And they're getting along quite well. So well that, in fact, Daisy heads out to get a second bottle of wine. And when she runs into Carla, sitting on Maxine's bench there, that bench is getting good use these days.
Sure is.
Carla is in a generous mood and also has noticed the pub has been understaffed and losing money because of that, losing sales. So she offers Daisy her job back. So we are going to be seeing Daisy back in the pub, which I think is a good thing.
Here's my question for that.
Okay.
Do you remember what happened to Maxine Peacock?
Yeah, I believe she was murdered. That's why she got the bench.
Lucky her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she was murdered because Ashley was a sad widower.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
He was punching well above his weight there as well.
Yes, he was.
That's the Coronation Street's the street to move to if you're a guy.
Definitely. Speaking of punching above their weight, so Daniel then later on came back to the flat, and Bethany and Daisy, both of whom are out of his league, I think, were both squiffy and best of pals and watching Mean Girls and quoting it. And I very much enjoyed it because it is Daniel's worst nightmare come true. I think he'd rather be found guilty of murdering Lauren than
I
have
think-
those two be pals.
I think it's everybody's worst nightmare, isn't it? Having your current with your ex, that'd be horrible.
I mean, I guess so. It couldn't have happened to a better person, though.
Don't be so hard on Daniel.
All right, Simon. So Simon is telling Carla that he's going to be going off sailing with Peter. And Carla's sort of digesting all this information, and she's talking to Sarah later, and she says, I was surprised that it sort of threw me a bit because I always assumed I would see Peter again because he would come back at some point to see Simon, and didn't think that Simon would go to Peter. So she isn't sure she wants Peter back, but this is a bit of a shock, a bit of news.
Okay, yeah.
And then Simon later on is showing her pictures of the yacht that he's going to be working on, and Carla notices there's a picture of Peter with his arms around a woman.
Right. Which we don't get to see that picture.
We don't get to see that picture.
Yeah. Costs too much to get Peter Barlow to appear again.
Exactly. Yes. Or they had enough of a fight to them. They said, you're not back for 3 more years.
Exactly.
Yep. So Carla then goes to see Ken under the guise of, hey, do you think Peter is in a headspace to look after Simon? Mm-hmm. But then it comes out, she's really just fishing to see if he knows anything about the girlfriend.
Right.
And it turns out the whole family know all about the girlfriend, but they weren't sure how to tell Carla about it.
Right.
Because they felt a bit awkward about that. So she runs into Simon, and then the two of them are sitting on Maxine's bench talking, and Simon is telling her he feels terrible that he hasn't told her about this, but he didn't want to hurt her feelings, and he's glad to sort of have it off his chest.
Yeah.
And Carla says she wasn't upset. It was just a bit of a shock, and they had a really nice chat on the bench. Mm-hmm. So that's Simon. He's now getting ready to ship out soon, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to see him happy.
Yeah.
And sober for once.
I know, he just, once again, just fixed it just in a day.
Yeah, well, listen, that's all you have to do.
Yep.
Any
All
sort
right.
of addiction problems you got?
All right.
Not a big deal.
I'm rooting for Simon.
A couple of good pamphlets and you're good to go.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Joseph's invited some pals from Oak Hill round.
Right.
For tea. And Bernie and Gemma have spent the whole day cleaning like mad. Mm-hmm. End of the school day, Linda comes in after school with Joseph. No school pals. Mm-hmm. Joseph's back there to get changed out of his school uniform, and then they're going to go to the bistro because Linda is treating all the kids to dinner at the bistro.
Right.
And she says offhandedly, well, it's probably a good thing because you don't want to have to clean all this up after they just spent.
They'd already cleaned up.
Yes.
That's someone would do that with our house, probably.
Absolutely,
we
1,000%.
would clean up and they'd come over and they'd be like, oh, well, listen, we don't want you to have to clean up, and I'm glad you didn't.
They'd be correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Bernie has a bit of a go at Linda, and she says, listen, we spent all day cleaning, bought in a load of fish fingers to feed the kids, and you can't just swan in and do this. You have to ask beforehand. And Linda was very apologetic.
Yeah.
Said, I totally hadn't thought about it. I feel terrible. Next time I'll ask ahead of time. I'll make sure I don't do that again. And then Joseph admits that actually Joseph had asked Linda to take him and his pals to the bistro.
Yeah.
Because he was a bit embarrassed coming back to the house because when he went to his Oak Hill pal's house, it was all very posh.
Sure.
And very nice.
Yeah.
So poor Joseph was feeling sick that he was hurting Gemma's feelings, but he didn't want his friends back there.
Right.
And then Linda drops, well, she was thinking of getting a Manchester bolt hole anyways. Mm-hmm. So maybe then Joseph and his friends could come around there. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that Linda did not throw Joseph under the bus.
Yeah.
She apologized from the heart.
Yeah. I mean, she apologized from the heart for sure. However, she makes these mistakes a lot. She doesn't think a lot.
No, I think to her, she just thinks, oh, well, I'm sure the kids would love to go to the bistro.
I'm sure they would. They know how poor they are. And they'd like me to swan in and help them. Which, I mean, Joseph gets it. Joseph like, yes, that is exactly what I want.
Yeah. I think you'd be taking advantage of your rich granny like that.
Would be. I did, for sure. They weren't even that rich.
No, you took advantage of your middle class granny.
Exactly. My one granny died and I still owed her $1,000. Whew.
That's awful.
I didn't have anything to do with her death. I'm just saying that. Not a Coronation Street type thing. It's
Abby.
real life. Sorry.
Abby. So Kev seems to have forgiven Abby. Lucky Abby. Anyways, Abby is not really keen on going
That hairy bastard.
Oh my God. She is not keen on going out in public. She's feeling a bit, everybody has seen my naked sex tape video.
Right.
So Kev goes to take Alfie to nursery for her. Cassie runs into Kev and tells him that she saw Abby talking with Dean and that Abby was going to go meet Dean in the precinct to give him some money. So this is why Abby said she didn't want to go out and bring Alfie to school.
Right.
So Rat Cassie trying to throw
Rat Cassie,
trying to throw Abby in it. So Abby goes down there and confronts Dean about the videos, and you see her standing there, and she drops a spanner down from her sleeve into her
Quite
hand. One of those
stealthily.
big, like, mechanic.
I know, but it was like the length of her arm, and just went and it dropped down and grabbed it. It looked pretty cool.
Pretty practiced.
Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah. Makes you think maybe that's why she went into being a mechanic.
Yeah, because she's like, what else can I do with this spanner?
Yeah.
Apart from beating people to death with it. Yeah.
And just as she's laying into him, Kev comes running over, and Dean is saying, I have no idea. He didn't even know what she was talking about with the videos, he said. And Abby seemed to kind of believe him about that. She wasn't too sure, but she didn't think that it was him. But in any case, Kev had already called the police before he left to go there. So the police arrive, and they're going to search Dean's phone to see if he was the one who uploaded the videos of Abby.
Right.
The sex tape, or the video. Then Abby gets a call from Tyrone, a message from Tyrone that there's 4 more videos out there. So she tells Kev she wants to see them because she needs to know.
Sure.
And
because she has no recollection of any of it.
recollection of any of this. Right. And she looks at one and she's like, that woman has a tattoo.
Yeah.
I don't have that tattoo.
Yeah.
And then she's like, but it is my face. So she's like, they're deep fakes. So deep fakes being, you can literally just have a computer make stuff up.
Superimpose
someone's face on something. Yeah.
Use some old world names, words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which then makes Abby quite convinced it wasn't Dean, because she said Dean's not clever enough for that. He wouldn't know how to do it. He wouldn't know how to go about it.
Right.
He probably doesn't even know they exist.
Right.
So Cassie is at work with Kev and stirring it, basically saying to Kev, just think how many people have seen your missus naked in her sex tape. You must be really embarrassed about that. And while she's riling him up about this, Max pops over. And earlier Kev had a go at him, and Max was like, I didn't realize that these videos were out there.
Yeah.
That's not what I was laughing at. I didn't even know about it then.
Yeah.
I feel awful. Poor Abby.
I thought that was nice of Max.
I'll give you the website for free. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Great. He goes away, and Cassie says to Kevin, I think whoever made those deep fake videos, they're probably really good with computers. Kev then goes storming over to the Platt house, barges his way in, starts shouting at Max for making these videos. David's there, and Max is like, I didn't do it. And Kevin said, you did it because I wouldn't pay you for the website. And Max is like, I just literally came over and said I would do it for free because I felt bad. And Kevin's like, well, you just felt bad because you made the videos. Abby comes in, grabs him by the scruff, apologizes, drags him out, brings him back home. Is like, what do you think you're doing? And Kev's like, no, it was definitely Max that did it. She's like, why would you think Max would do it? And he said, Max made a fake sex tape video of you to get back at me. So Kev has turned it into, it's now Kev's issue. It's nothing to do with Abby.
Because he's quite obviously, people are out to get Kev.
Yes. Yeah. Kev is the victim. Kev's the real victim
here.
He
really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not. I'm shaking my head for those listening.
No. But anyways, do we still believe that Cassie is behind it? Is behind the sex tape video? Is she in cahoots with Dean?
No, I don't think so. I don't think Cassie's clever enough to do the videos herself, or even to find a way to get them done. And I don't think she's in cahoots with the Dean guy. Though I think she's using this as like a leverage to weasel her way into Kev's good graces.
Harry Hart. So is she just always in the right place at the right time that she's hearing stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's her whole thing. That's her whole shtick.
Right.
Yeah.
Lurking.
Just not doing anything.
Good hearing.
Being available for opportunity. That's it.
Just not valeting cars.
Yeah.
All right. So Roy. So we're now descending into the Lauren stuff.
Oof.
So unbeknownst to Roy, Griff, who was the leader of the white supremacist group that Lauren's dad was a part of. So he's just been transferred into the jail.
Right.
And he sees that Roy is there and recognizes him. We then see Griff pressuring Roscoe to get him access to Roy's cell, to get Roy out of the cell. Roscoe's not keen on going along with it, but Griff says, I know where your granddaughter lives.
He says her address and all that kind of stuff.
So he's threatening Roscoe's granddaughter. So Roscoe has decided, okay, he's going to have to do what he says. So Roy is teaching Roscoe how to play chess. It's not going very well, but Roscoe's hanging out. Roy then asks Roscoe to leave because he wants to call Evelyn. They're going to talk about organizing a book club. So Roy's feeling a bit more optimistic now about everything, now that he has an ally in there, I think. Later on, Roy's sitting reading in his cell and Roscoe's just hanging out with him and keeps interrupting him, keeps talking, and is trying to convince him they should go to the library. And Roy's like, well, I'm still reading this book. And he's like, well, but you're reading it kind of slow. You don't seem to be enjoying it. Let's just go get a new book now.
Right.
He's like, no, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. Roscoe comes back with 2 mugs of tea and asks to see Roy's book, and then accidentally spills the tea on the book, drops the book, drops the tea mug on the floor. And this is the scene that we've been seeing in the opening sequences repeatedly.
Yeah.
Roy is no fool and says, I literally saw you doing that on purpose. Yeah. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to get me to go to the library?
Yeah.
And Roscoe thinks quickly on his feet and he says, I heard that you will help people learn how to read, because he'd helped Stu learn how to read.
It's just Stu.
Sure. And he says, I can kind of read, but I can't read properly, and I want to be able to read to my granddaughter when I get out. So Roy says, oh, well, you should have just said that. I'd have come with you right away.
Right.
So away they go to the library immediately, leaving the book and the tea on the ground and everything, and come back a while later, and Roy has picked The Railway Children out, which is I haven't read it, but it's very much a British school reading book. Right. Like the same way we read Charlotte's Web.
Yeah.
That's one of the books. And it's about the parent of the kids was wrongfully convicted.
Right.
So I think he's picked it for that. And he says, come on in, let's get started. We'll get started with chapter 1 before we have to go for dinner. And Roscoe has a million reasons why he can't come in. He's got to go. Roy goes into his cell. Door gets closed behind him. He turns around and he sees Griff, and he recognizes Griff.
Yeah.
Because Griff had sent the thugs to intimidate him.
That's right.
Previously. So he greets Griff, and Griff is asking him what happened to Lauren. Mm-hmm. He wants details. He also doesn't believe Roy that he's like, I can't, he didn't understand or believe that someone like Roy could actually have just been looking out for Lauren.
Yeah.
Rather than wanting to use her. And he said,
can't understand how it couldn't be transactional.
Yes. He said Lauren wasn't afraid to use her body to get something.
Yeah.
And, that's not Roy.
No, it's not Roy.
And then he lets Roy know that he's basically going to make Roy hang himself in his cell, make it look like he's chosen to kill himself. He's going to have him write a suicide note. And while they're starting to do all this and Roy's starting to write the note, Roy says, can I just call Nina, my niece, because much like Lauren, she doesn't have many people to rely on. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why Griff agreed to go along with it. It's a bit odd.
He hesitated, and I'm not sure why he hesitated at that point. Other points, I was like, I know why he doesn't want to get caught. He thought he could kill him and then get out of there before I blame.
Then what I'd missed is before they started making him write the note, Roy did make a dash for the cell door and started banging on it.
Right.
Before Griff hauled him back. And the friendly security guard,
whatever his name is,
which we can't remember.
No.
But the guy who was with him at the hospital overheard it. And so he called it in, and they have all these protocols, but they have to wait for the SWAT team and everything. Meantime, Griff has Roy in there. He says, we're not going to do the hanging thing. We're going to have to speed this up. Lets Roy make the call. The guards are getting closer to breaking in. Griff's going to take his shiv and slit Roy's throat, and then the guards break in.
Yeah.
And they haul Griff off, and Roy's okay. Nina and Carla can just hear shouting,
Kerfuffle.
Alarms, all sorts of stuff happening in the background. And then later on that same day, Roy is released due to the apprehension of another suspect in the case. And then we see poor Roy in a daze in the corner of the calf with a cake in front of him, surrounded by all of his supporters.
He would hate at normal times, never mind now.
I hated it for him.
Yeah.
Poor Roy. Like he's been in jail for a few months.
I think so.
That's a rough reintroduction.
Exactly. Yeah. Suddenly Evelyn's yapping away and you're holding a dog. The dog part pretty okay, probably.
Yes. You'd probably rather that than the cake.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So another part of this puzzle piece then is Swain, DS Swain. So we learn a lot about her this week. So Carla has somehow found Swain's police pass in the precinct.
Yeah, that was just sort of a convenient.
Do we think Carla goes to the precinct? Now that we've seen the precinct and know what it looks like?
Well, there's always something to find.
Sleeping, passed out Simon.
Exactly.
Yeah. Drug deals. Abby with a wrench.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everything's going down in the precinct.
So Carla sees Swain sitting in her car. So she's like, I'll go over and give it to her. And as she's approaching the car, she can hear conversation on speakerphone. And Swain is obviously speaking with her teenage daughter.
Yeah.
And it is not going well. It's an angry and emotional conversation. So Carla kind of backs off. And then as soon as the conversation's done, Swain drives off. So Carla goes to the police station to hopefully meet her there. At the police station, Swain is not in the greatest mood. She's just chewed out Kit for Christopher Green for sort of doing all his own questioning and all this stuff in the Lauren case instead of sitting down and reading the file.
Right, being a bit cowboyish.
Of what they've been working on for the past however many months.
Yeah.
And she's giving him a hard time because he's not paying attention to detail. He's going a bit ham-fisted. At that moment, Carla walks in with the pass, and Kit sees that I would say Swain has been highly irresponsible because she's just lost her police badge in the precinct. Carla hands it back to her and says, well, I'm glad, hearing you talking with Kit, that you guys seem to still be looking for suspects other than Roy. And Swain says, suspects? Didn't Bobby say there was only one person that left the flat? So why do you think we'd be looking for more than one person?
Yeah.
Carla just kind of skedaddles out of there. And then later Swain goes into the cafe to apologize to Carla.
Which was weird.
But while she is in there, Bethany comes in to say that someone else has been arrested. And Swain steps out to take a call. Carla follows her out, and then she overhears Swain on the phone in her car yet again, having a really big fight with her daughter. And Swain hangs up, and she breaks down in tears. Carla hops in the car next to her,
right?
Which would scare the life out of you.
Especially if you're a detective.
Yes.
You'd be like, don't do that.
Yes, I agree. She's lucky they don't really carry guns, I think, over there. It turns out that her daughter is really upset that they're moving, but Swain needs a fresh start. And then she sort of confides in Carla, and it turns out that Swain, her wife and her daughter's other mother, was killed in the line of duty. She was also a police officer about 2.5 years ago. And their last conversation was a fight with her wife telling her she'd missed important details in a case she was working on. So there's a lot of unresolved issues there. And then the sudden death. And so Carla empathizes with how difficult it is to deal with teenagers. I wouldn't, in a sense, Carla softened to her, but she's not really willing to let her get away with anything.
No, I thought they kind of treated it as like personal and business.
Yes. Yeah. Which,
like, personally, we get along fine.
Yeah.
We've got business to do, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
They didn't say it like that. We got business to do, though. But that was the implication.
Then Roy has called Swain in and asked to speak to her. And she tells Roy she's convinced he's hiding something. And she says that she thinks that Bobby lied. And Roy talks about how he used to have faith in the justice system, but he's still in jail. So he's not sure if he can have faith anymore.
Sure.
And Swain says to him, if we aren't told the full truth, we're wasting our resources. We're never going to get to the truth of what's happened if we're chasing down red herrings.
Yeah.
And lies. So we need to know the truth. And so Roy tells her that Bobby made up, that Roy then found out that Bobby, in an attempt to help, had made up the story about seeing the intruder, that Carla was unknowingly dragged into it, but then decided to go along with it because she was hoping the police would keep looking for suspects. And he asks her not to punish anyone unnecessarily for this. So Swain pulls Bobby in for questioning. He won't answer anything. He had no lawyer there. How does Carla, who's waiting in the hall for him, allow Bobby to
go in without representation?
Yeah. I thought that was weird.
Because she probably feels the same way about Bobby as I do. She's like, you know what? Let's just see what happens.
Let's roll those dice.
Let's roll the dice.
And then later when Swain comes out from questioning, Swain says to Carla, I think, so Bobby's free to go for now. I think Bobby lied, and I think you're covering up for him. And we now know that Swain knows that's true.
Yeah.
So, where am I? There's so many. Everything went back and forth. We were discovering things in a different order.
The whole thing was, it was all very cinematic, but there was like lots of backtracking and flashbacks and flash forwards.
Yes. Originally, when Swain told Carla, I think Bobby lied, and you went along with it, we didn't know that she actually knew that.
Which I greatly enjoyed, but it made doing this show very difficult for Shannon.
And Carla tells Bobby when they go home, she says, listen, you need to come clean because you're wasting police resources and they're going to not get stuff that they should get to solve Lauren's murder because of what you said. So then we come to Sarah, Nathan, and Kit, Christopher Green. So Nathan is driving past the charity car wash, smirks at Bethany when he sees her. She's horrified to see him. Bethany and Sarah go down to the police station to complain that he's breaking his bail conditions by being right outside Bethany's door. And then they're told that he's unaware that Bethany had moved from the Platt house. How far is it from the Platt house to Daniel's door of his flat?
Like 20 yards, maybe?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's got to keep 250 meters away. I feel that encompasses both of them. Anyways, so the police are told, we'll let him know, but he didn't do anything wrong because he didn't know. So Sarah goes to confront Nathan at work, and he is unrepentant, unremorseful, smirking at her. He's like,
bit of a sleaze
what are you going to do about it? I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving. And if anything happens to me, if I get beat up again, everyone's going to know it was the Platts.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally correct.
So Sarah goes back to the Platt house and she goes and gets a bag with, among other things, Lauren's scrunchie in it that Max had found under his bed the other day.
Right. Yeah.
And she puts it in a
little sandwich bag type thing.
Yeah. And heads back to Nathan's work.
Yeah.
And sneaks around the back of his van, opens the back of the van, brings it out, is going to put it in there, and then changes her mind and repockets it. And just as she repockets it, Nathan comes around the back of the van, starts shouting at her.
Sure.
Understandably.
Yeah.
Turns out Kit has been watching this whole thing from afar.
Yeah.
So
he's there all the time.
Yeah. So he comes over with his badge out.
Yeah.
I believe he was also there when Sarah and Bethany went into the police station to complain.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anyways, so he comes over with his badge and he says, okay, listen, break it up. I saw her. She didn't put anything in there. I was watching the whole thing.
Right.
Just both of you leave.
Yeah.
Leave here.
Yeah.
He then gets Sarah into his car and is sort of questioning her, but not in like a police way. Just being like, what was your plan?
Yeah.
He said, I saw you pocket something.
I'm getting like a romantic vibe between the two of them.
I mean, Sarah needs a new boyfriend, obviously, because Sarah can't ever not have a
she's
boyfriend.
gotta have somebody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I don't think there's anybody left on the street.
No, in this, I think Christopher Green's going to fall nicely between her and Bethany. Daniel and Bethany, they're not going to last. As sad as it makes me, they're not going to last. And it's going to fall right in between. And Christopher Green is going to end up dating Sarah and fooling around with Bethany.
Oof.
Mark my words. Mark my words.
You say that about everything. You're not always right.
No, that's not true.
So Sarah shows him the scrunchie she has in the baggie.
Ugh.
And says, I wasn't even sure quite what I was going to do, but I changed my mind and I didn't do anything, I swear. And he says, don't mess around with this investigation. Get out of here.
Yeah. Get out of here.
And she leaves the baggie behind.
Yeah.
So
I think she intentionally left it behind, though, did she? She said she gave it to him.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think she intentionally left it. She didn't, like, forget it. She just left it with him, like, take it.
So then Daniel comes home and says that he's just seen Nathan being bundled into the back of a police car.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kit had said that, well, someone saw drugs being used in the back of the van. So that was my reason to search the van.
Right.
And so he goes over to Nathan to search the van, and Nathan tries to object. And he's like, listen, you're out on bail. Mm-hmm. We have probable cause that there's drugs in here. Goes in, opens the glove compartment, and unexpectedly finds a whole bunch of USB sticks, which Nathan is prohibited from having under his conditions of bail.
Yeah.
So Nathan gets arrested. That's when Daniel has seen him being bundled into the back of the police car. He's then texted Craig, and Craig has confirmed that forensics are on their way to test the van. Mm-hmm. So Swain is then in the interview room with Nathan and Joel, who is the duty solicitor on.
Representing Nathan.
So he's been called in to represent Nathan.
Yeah. Not Bobby, though.
Not Bobby.
He wasn't
I know.
around for Bobby.
Yeah. So Joel is there with Nathan when Swain tells Nathan that Lauren's DNA was found in the van. Mm-hmm. And that terminates the interview because it's a whole different ball game now. So they terminate the interview, press the off on the tape button, and then Nathan says, I think Sarah planted something in the back of the van.
Right.
That's why she was there. And Kit said, well, no, Sarah never went to the back of the van. He was watching her.
He said she went to the back of the van, but didn't have any time to do anything.
And Swain said, well, you didn't mention any of this stuff originally.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I tried calling you, but you were unavailable. Check your call log. And she saw that there were multiple calls placed from him. Mm-hmm. So this all brings us to Joel.
Bum, bum, bum.
So at the, I keep going to say charity car wash. Little Big Shots is not a charity, but at the Little Big Shots car wash. Hope has found something in one of the cars she's cleaning, and she's hiding it from everyone except for Ruby. And we see her and Ruby running around, and Ruby is not looking happy at all at whatever it is.
Whatever she's found.
That she's found. And then partway through the week.
Which is funny because at a car wash, you don't find something in someone's car.
I know they were detailing.
You just steal the car. You steal it from the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I take it was under the seat. as opposed to, in the cup
But
holder.
still.
Oh yeah, no, agreed. That's because
Mind you, she didn't burn anything down, so that's pretty good.
yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of water there. It would be hard.
That's true.
It's a car wash. And then partway through the week, we see that it's Lauren's necklace that has been found.
Mm-hmm.
So Dee Dee's upset when Roy calls her into jail to tell her that Bobby lied. There was no mystery man at the flat.
Yeah.
So that whole alibi has gone out the window. So Dee Dee's despairing. Joel is comforting her and says to her, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
She takes great offense to this, saying that he's essentially looking down on her because she's not with as posh solicitor's firm as she is. It's as if she has no experience, that he's sort of going, there. It'll be all
right.
What are you going to do about it? It's okay.
Yeah.
And so they're a bit snippy with each other, but then on a break from Nathan's questioning, Joel calls Dee Dee to tell her that he's now Nathan's solicitor.
Mm-hmm.
And she is very unhappy about this. And he says,
Distressed.
I was the duty solicitor. What else can I do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for a start, you could probably say to them, oh, my girlfriend is representing the other person accused of this.
Conflict of interest. Can't do this.
I think it would be quite easy.
Sure.
But then we start to see why he's not so keen on recusing himself from this.
Why, Shannon? Why?
So when Swain announces that Lauren's DNA is found in a strand of hair in the van,
Yeah.
we flash back to seeing Lauren being assaulted, grabbed by the hair. Then we go back to the interview room and we see Joel and Nathan both looking shocked at the news that DNA was found in the van. Back at Roy's party, Joel excuses himself to Dee Dee, says it's been a really long day.
Yeah.
He needs to leave. We then see Hope approach him as he heads out and reluctantly hand back the necklace she found in his car.
Yeah.
And then we flash back to Lauren's flat again. And we see now that the assailant is Joel, and he grabs the necklace off the side table as he leaves. So, big news.
Very big news.
Here's my first question.
Okay.
Did Joel act alone? Like, is it just done and dusted? It's solved. Well, it's not solved because no one knows yet.
No one knows yet.
Is it just that simple? It's all Joel?
I think, yes, it's all Joel. I think Hope's in trouble now.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't know that Ruby knows too, but she might be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like meaning in danger. And yeah, there's part of me that's still holding out hope that she's not dead, but I'm assuming she is.
Yeah, it's not looking very good.
It's not looking good.
Yeah.
Not looking good.
At least we haven't heard of anyone seeing her in another show yet.
No.
That's always good.
Here's my thing about Joel though. I'm trying hard, and I've been trying hard to remember back since we watched Friday's episode. If I could think of any times that Joel was in the cafe when Lauren was there. Because you would think there would be giveaways of like, oh, we know each other. I
don't know. So she got sent the flowers there, the extravagant flowers, remember, on Valentine's Day?
Yeah. And Joel would have come in and out with Dee Dee numerous times, right?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I want to see a flashback.
But it fits the narrative, right? Because we know that Joel had an affair, and that's what broke up his marriage.
Yeah.
We know he was a jewelry buyer.
I mean, that doesn't necessitate that he's going to kill somebody.
No. But meaning, like, we had these little hints dropped. But
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever interacted in the cafe. Here's my other question.
I'm ready.
Why is Kit always lurking, and why is he planting evidence in this case? Why is he so involved in this case?
Are you alluding that maybe Christopher and Joel are together? For those listening at home, like Sharon. Shannon just shrugged her shoulders and put her hands up in that shruggy emoji format.
Yeah.
She just did it again.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there a connection? Have we seen? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Wow. It was quite a week. It was a big week, and I know that even watching it, I was feeling sorry for you writing these notes.
Well, it was great. It was fun watching the way the information was revealed. It was just hard keeping track of it all.
Keeping track of all
but it
the
was
stories.
good. I liked how cinematic it all was.
Yes.
I liked the tie-in with the cup of tea dropping at the beginning.
Because initially you thought to yourself, that's it, Roy's a goner.
And then also realizing that it tied into the very start of the week at the car wash when Carla and Sarah bump into each other and spill the coffee.
Lots of symbolic transitions that happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
I liked it. It was great. It was a really good week. It was a solid week.
I did not have, however, any humorous moments to come out of it.
Trying to think back.
Maybe a little bit of Sam in his suit, maybe getting car washed, but there was nothing.
No.
Yeah. But for lovely moments.
Yeah.
I would like to say Carla and Simon sitting on that bench having their chat.
Yeah.
Was really lovely.
It had a real parent-child vibe.
Parent-child. And I also want to say the step-parents on Coronation Street are always, I think always, generally anyways, very accepting, loving, and supportive of their stepchildren and ex-stepchildren.
Yeah.
So someone that they were a step-parent of for 2 years.
Yeah, there's
like Gary looking out for Bethany.
Yeah, there's rarely any evil stepmothers or stepfathers, right?
Yeah, even people who are very flawed humans.
Yeah.
You know, Gary, the multiple murderer.
With a heart of gold.
He looked out for Kelly, and even though he killed her father, and he looks out for Liam.
Her father had to go.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah. That was pretty good. Well, that was well done, Shannon. Phenomenal.
It was a fun week.
There's a lot. There's like 50 pages of papers here.
So where can people find us?
Oh, people can find us at weatherfield.ca. And again, you've been listening to North of Weatherfield, the Canadian Coronation Street podcast, and you can subscribe at weatherfield.ca. You'll get an email notification every time there's a new episode. You can also follow us and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, like Pocket Casts or Apple Podcasts or Spotify or something else, probably. I don't know. It's out there. It's everywhere.
They feel like fake names.
Play the theme. So that was a big week. So what happens now?
Meaning what happens next week?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to,
I'm tired just thinking about it.
I think we're going to find out who's going to be looking out for Hope. Because I think you're right. Hope might be in trouble.
Hope might be in trouble. And I think this idea of Joel and Krista and Kit, there might be something to it.
There you go.
Because Bernie's a bad one. Everyone knows that.
She's not.
Well, she's a bad one. She had a bad kid.
No. That's just you she maybe had a bad kid. We'll find out.
We'll find out exactly. Thanks so much for watching and or listening. We'll see you next week. Take care.